Today I have the MXQ Plus in for review. Take note, this is entirely different from the entry-level box. This one is the octa-core version. Taking a quick look at the included package, very much standard for an Android box. You have the remote controller, power adapter and a HDMI lead included with some basic instructions. Moving in a bit closer on the remote, it's the standard remote that I've seen with a lot of boxes, and there's no programmable buttons on this particular one. Opening the back cover is a space for the two AAA batteries. You don't get any supplied in the box with this. Looking at the top cover, you have a nice aluminium finish with a silver bezel on the sides. The top and bottom is aluminium. On the front portion we have the infrared receiver, power and network indicators on LEDs. Two USB ports and a micro SD slot, and on the back we have the optical out, AV, HDMI, Ethernet and the power input. On the other side that's blank. On the underside we have 4 rubber pads. Note the ventilation slots at the bottom too. Booting up the box, you'll see we have the power indicator there on the left, and I've also got a Ethernet cable connected, so the network light is on too. You're greeted with a setup menu once you boot up, so you can set your language and you can make screen adjustments and connect to the internet, things like that. Just makes it a bit easier rather than waiting until it's booted going into the menus. Now there was an update available, so the OTA update is working perfectly fine on this box. The custom menu system is quite good. You have some presets at the left hand side here. It's not adjustable though, but you can add and remove apps on the bottom bar here, and you have space for up to 9 apps that you want, so you can add the shortcuts there for them. That's quite handy because obviously you'll want to get straight into some of the apps rather than having to look through the apps menu. The only thing that perhaps I would say is that you can't adjust the top section, so if you don't subscribe to Netflix or you don't want the other shortcuts there, that's a bit of a shame. However, you can use your own launcher if you wish. It's worth trying a few of them. There's quite a lot out there. You can download them from the Play Store. Interface works pretty well for me. I'm not unhappy with it at all. I slightly prefer the T95Z, but that's a small point. There's also a game shortcut included, and that gives you direct downloads for game apps. That's probably included because the box is quite well geared towards gaming. Certainly with regards to the 3D performance, there's quite a big performance gap between this and some of the entry and lower mid-level boxes. So it's really very much aimed towards gamers on Android. I spotted a few old favourites in there too. Now moving into the settings menu, we have oversized icons and we also have oversized fonts, so it's quite easy and intuitive to change the settings without going into the main Android menu. Most of the common ones are here. It's quite attractive, and from a practical point of view on a TV it's well worth having them because it's easy to see the larger fonts. Now if you do want to go into the main menu, we're Android 6.0, so everything's quite intuitive and well laid out, as we can see here, the standard menu system. In terms of features, you've got everything that you would expect on a box of this price point. You have Bluetooth, you have Miracast and AirPlay as well, so really there's not much to fault regards to the hardware, and Android 6.0 works quite well from a hardware perspective. Integrating with the software, it's quite a smooth experience and better memory management too. Kodi is 16.1 Jarvis, and you have a fair few streams pre-included. You want to check to make sure that they're legal. As far as I'm aware, in most regions they are. It's the TV add-ons package that's included. It's pretty common to see this in most of the Android boxes that are coming in now. Of course you can add your own streams if you wish, and there are quite a lot of sites out there which will give you guides on how to do that. Running a few benchmark tests now. This is the Geekbench 4 processor test, and we've got a score of 2269, which is actually slightly higher than the T95Z Android box. That's probably just down to benchmark variation. It's still quite close. The hardware is identical in both of these boxes, so there's no reason there'd be any performance difference. This gives you a comparison compared to other devices, so there's quite a nice jump over some of the entry-level models. Now, I did a test on the Wi-Fi exactly the same as the T95Z, and I found that the integrated antenna does give a slight speed boost, so I was getting better download speeds. There might be a bit of variation in that, but that was how it panned out for me. So if you're in a slightly weaker spot, it might be worth looking at the antenna version over the T95Z, because they are identical other than some design changes. Quick summary on the box for me. Most of the areas are quite strong. The performance is very good, both for streaming and for gaming. I also like the metal chassis and design, gives it a bit of class. Downsides for me would be the lack of USB 3 ports, which is strange considering it's a new chipset. Perhaps a revision later on will provide that. And the supplied remote is really the same one that you get with the entry-level boxes. So it would have been nice to have had something a bit more premium. But taken as a whole, it's a competitive box, and it's well priced and gives you a good solid performance both for streaming and 3D.